Hi guys, welcome back to another Bourbon Santa video. Today we're going to wrap up Booker's Month with a 6-way super shootout of the best Bookers that have ever graced my collection. Round 1 was the king of the vintage Bookers, the few vintage Bookers that I had. We had 5 different vintage Bookers that went up against each other, all pre-2016. Then we had best of 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. And the winners from the vintage were No Hard Times. From 2017 it was Sip a While. From 2018 was Kentucky Chew. 2019 was Country Ham, of course. 2020 was Granny's Batch. And for fun, I threw in as a ringer my Booker's 30th. Now, that bottle went away quite some time ago, and all I had left of it are these 2 samples that I saved just for this occasion, just in case I ever needed to try it, or maybe when Booker's 35th anniversary comes out in another year or 2. I would have this to compare to it, and if I ever was to come across a Booker's 25th anniversary, I'd have a sample to compare to it. So this one's going in my posterity collection for the future. But I had enough left in this sample after I gave some away to my patrons to do this lineup. So without further ado, let's dive right in. We'll start with the vintage. You could convince me that this is a finished bourbon. Amazing. It's so fruity and sweet that, seriously, you could convince me that this was a finished bourbon. So well balanced, so pretty, so nice. So I think what we'll do is we'll go through first on the nose, and we'll try to eliminate 2. Let's get this down to 4 if we can, and then we can dig in a little bit. Oh. This one is grapey. And 2017 runs like blackberries. Blackberry jam. Oh. Super sweet, sweet cinnamon. Like cinnamon sugar. Oh, dang. Wow. This is going to be harder than I thought. This one is the first one, and this has got to be, this is Country Ham. This is the first one that feels like a slightly different profile. I get a little more spice, a little more of that rye spice. It comes off a hair less sweet, but robust, thick. Oh, dang. Okay. So far, on the nose, Granny's Batch is my least favorite. I'm getting a green... It's a mix between a green grass note and a hay note. Almost a little pickly, like a little dilly. This is the most off... Like if these were a profile, this one's the furthest away from all the rest. Interesting. Booker's 30th. All right, on the nose, this is the odd man out, interestingly enough. So let's taste them and see where we end up. big flavor spikes, big flavor notes, explosion of spice in your mouth. All that rye shows up. It's very... Interestingly, this one's a little bit drying for me right now. It's drying out my mouth. Not something I love on a bourbon. I want it to make my mouth water. That one's actually on the drying side. This one, really nice spice, but more subdued, not quite as aggressive as this one. This one's got a great oaky note. And what is that? A really strong vanilla note. Really strong, sharp vanilla note. That's nice. Oh. Funny, this one, I was getting that pickly dilly grass note. This one, I'm kind of getting it on the palate. Oh. The rye is really showing up for some reason today. All of these are presenting much more rye forward than I normally get on Booker's. I mean, I always get rye, but it's really showing up today for where my palate's sitting today. Now, I did have a warm-up bourbon before this, which was a Penelope cask strength, and before that, I had some of the Hotel Tango bourbon, young, low-proof bourbon, and then I had a cask strength taste to get my palate up to speed. So that may explain, that combination of those two bourbons may explain why I'm picking up a little more rye on these than I normally do. Maybe, maybe not. That could be it. Wow. Oh, wow. That grassy hay note is totally showing up on the palate on that one. Interesting. Booker's 30th. Now, I have to tell you about Booker's 30th a little bit. I bought Booker's 30th two years ago, maybe a little over 2 years ago, and I paid a lot of money for it because I was in the midst of my feverish Booker's hunting period of my collecting, and I had to have a Booker's 30th, and I paid a lot of money for Booker's 30th. It was, at that point, the most I'd ever spent on a bottle of whiskey. I don't even want to say how much, because it's embarrassing. But I was extremely disappointed with Booker's 30th when I first opened it. It was really sharp. It felt very imbalanced. It felt really rough. I didn't enjoy drinking it. Now, it took a long time for that bottle to open up and get to where I enjoyed it. And I was so upset about it that it really put me off spending big bucks on a bottle of whiskey. Pretty much every bottle of whiskey that bourbon anyway, that I've spent a lot of money on, I've been disappointed with. The bottles I've spent a lot of money on that were Scotch, haven't been disappointed. So it's kind of rough when you find out that some of the overhyped bottles that are huge money on secondary aren't that great. It kind of hurts right in your heart. But I have to say that Booker's 30th does open up really nice. It just takes a long time to open up. Jammy, peanut buttery, really nice toasted rye bread, cherries, vanilla, caramel, saltwater toffee. Oof. enveloping mouthfeel. Very mouth-watering. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so my two least favorite is the Vintage. So we're going to kick that one to the curb. And Granny's Batch. Sorry, Granny. You got to go. Alright, so now we can get serious. Alright, so we have 2017's Sip a While, Kentucky Chew, Country Ham, Booker's 30th. These are our 4 finalists. Now, if you're in my Patreon group, a few of you are going to get these 4 sent to you. There's a little gnat. Get out of here, buddy. You're going to get these 4 sent to you as a blind flight. Now, I can't send them to everybody because I don't have enough Booker's 30th to send to everybody. But I'm going to pick a little handful of people to get this blind flight to try on their own. And I want you to report back to me on what your favorite was. So, if you're in my Patreon group, be watching for that. So, let's see how I feel today. 2017 Sip a While. Sweet, fragrant, slightly perfumey. Hits like a finished whiskey. It's so sweet that it hits you like a wine finish. Very smooth, very round rye note. There are a couple barrel bourbons that I've had recently, which I know is Dickel, and I hate Dickel, but there are a few that I've had recently that are starting to change my mind a little bit about barrel. And I get a couple of notes that I find in those barrel bourbons in this one. This really, it's almost a bubblegum note, like a bubblicious cherry, maybe strawberry flavored bubblegum. Yeah, it hits me like bubblegum, like, ooh. Nice warm rye note. Very warming. Nice Kentucky hug. Very weird. I keep saying warm. Very warm in the mouth. Like warm wood, warm oak. Like a hot cherry compote. Warm. That everything comes across as warm for some reason. Vanilla, everything. That's nice. That's a contender. This is Kentucky Chew, 2018. Bigger rye, not as rounded, bigger, sharper, spicier, a little more alcohol forward. Drier. Excuse me. A lot more alcohol forward. It just kind of like is evaporating on your tongue. Okay. So far, this one is ahead. 2019, Country Ham. Oh, frick. Fruit, like stewed berries. Almost a marshmallow note. Odd. Great vanilla, great cherry, really sweet oak. Oh, okay. The palate is spicier. Nice, thick. Spice without going too high, without getting wild. Oh, just real nice spice right on the front of the tongue, all the way to the back of the tongue. Prickles. Oh, nice. Nice. Booker's 30th. Wow. It's so funny that Booker's 30th, the way the rye note evolves from just sip to sip. The rye note's totally different now than it was a few minutes ago. Now it's like thicker and mustier and funkier. That's funny. It's funny. The barrel dickle-ish note that I'm kind of getting here, now, but different, but similar. Well, that's nice. That's nice. All right. Sip-A-While's out. Wow. Sip-A-While is pretty venerated by some people as being one of the best. Let me take a little water break here. Oh, this video is sponsored by my reverse osmosis system. So. That's just absolutely wonderful. Wait, I eliminated Kentucky Chew. This is Sip-A-While. I'm trying to mess myself up. I'm trying to mess everything up real quick. Let me separate these so that I remember which 4 I've got to give to you patrons. Alright, Sip-A-While. Kentucky Chew's pretty venerated too, but Sip-A-While has got a bigger reputation. Sip-A-While is phenomenal. Country Ham. It's starting, the flavors are starting to evolve. I'm starting to get a little more artificial sweetness. It's turning more towards like an artificial sweet candy almost. Not quite, but hinting towards circus peanut. Really nice rye. Beautiful, big, spicy rye notes. See, that's just fun to drink. It doesn't fight you. It's not giving you anything that you're like, oh, I don't like that, or that's rough, or that's harsh, that's displeasurable. Everything about sipping Country Ham is absolutely a pleasure. Wow. This is hard. This is hard because all 3 of these are absolutely standout Booker's whiskeys. Standouts. But I've got to go with the one that's the most pleasurable to drink. The one that's the nicest, the one that's the friendliest, the one that gives you the most pure, clean notes that aren't stepping on each other's toes, that aren't fighting with each other at all. I've got to give it to Country Ham. Country Ham's got to win this. Everything about drinking that is a pleasure. That's just a fun whiskey to drink. Kentucky Ham is gonna take home the bacon. See that hurts me a little bit. I mean, I know Country Ham. It's one of my favorites. It's my buddy's favorite. But that hurts me a little bit in my heart. Because this cost me almost 5 times what that cost me. Sip a While didn't kill me. That was normal price. I was able to get a hold of that normal price. Wow. Country Ham. Country Ham for the win. 2019. Country Ham. I think that's the best bottle of Booker's that they've ever made. Maybe if I did the blind on another day, I'd get a different result. Maybe. But I've known since the first time I tasted Country Ham that it was a standout, one of my favorites. So, maybe not. Maybe that would win on a normal day. On any day. These are all great. All 4 of these, all 6 of these, phenomenal. Phenomenal. The standouts from each year, or from a variety of years. The 30th, of course, is a special release. But, man, Country Ham for the win. Wow. So funny. Well, guys, thanks for coming along for Booker's Month. We're done with that. Next, I'm going to review some other bourbons between now and the end of the month. And then in May, we're going to play around with some bourbon-finished tequilas. We're going to do a few videos of that spread out throughout the month. We're going to do some other regular bourbon reviews. And we're going to do a couple Scotch reviews in May as well. But I'm going to sprinkle in some tequila finished in bourbon barrels for fun. It'll be fun. Maybe I'll do a video with my favorite tequilas. Maybe I'll convince my wife to come in for that video. We'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for coming along on Booker's Month. I've been saving these bottles for forever just to do this, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching and following along. Until next time, have a great day.